All right, good morning, students. So today we are going to be reading Acts 3, Scene 3 of Romeo and Juliet. The standard we are focusing on is I can read, RL 9.3, and the objective is I can read and interpret the words of Shakespeare. I'm sorry, I'm not sure where those words went, but it's all right. So I can read and interpret the words of Shakespeare. So that is the standard we've been working on as we read the entire play. So let's go ahead and get started. The very first thing we are trying to do as we get started with this lesson today is we have to get caught up on what is going on in the play so far. So we're going to read this with the blanks, and then after we read it, we're going to figure out what can go in the blanks. At this point in the play, Friar Lawrence has blank, blank, and blank. Shortly before the wedding, though, blank received a challenge from Juliet's blank, blank. After the wedding, and that challenge came to And after the wedding, that challenge came to blows. Blank and Mercutio were met by blank in the street, and fighting ensued. Blank tried to quell the fight, not wanting to argue with his new family. But in the end, blank killed Mercutio. Romeo killed blank, and Romeo is blank. So we've got to catch ourselves up. So Friar Lawrence has what? Obviously, we're going to need a verb here. Our two verbs are married and banished, and that one has a period. So just using our brain cells, we know that Friar Lawrence has married, and what are the two people that he married? Romeo. Oh, there's a lot of Romeos up there. Romeo and Juliet. Shortly before the wedding, though, someone received a challenge from Juliet's blank, blank. So we know that Romeo received a challenge from Juliet's cousin, Tybalt. And after the wedding, that challenge came to blows. Blank and Mercutio were met by someone in the street. So that was Benvolio. So Benvolio and Mercutio were met by Tybalt in the street, and a fight ensued. Romeo tried to quell meaning stop or keep from happening, not wanting to argue with his new family, but in the end, Tybalt killed Mercutio, Romeo killed Tybalt, and Romeo is banished. Ooh. All right, so we're jumping in on Act 3, Scene 3. Romeo, Romeo, come forth, thou fearful man. Affliction is enamored with thy parts, and thou art wedded to calamity, meaning problem, strife. Come forth, come in, thou fearful man. Affliction is enamored of thy parts. Enter Romeo. All right. Father, what news? What is the prince's doom? And what sorrow caves acquaintance in my hand, that I yet know not? So Romeo is wanting to know what the prince said. What was his consequence for murdering someone? Friar Lawrence says, too familiar is my dear son with such sour company. I bring thee tidings of the prince's doom. So I know what the prince wants you to do. Romeo says, what far less than doomsday is the prince's doom? Friar Lawrence, a gentler judgment vanished from his lips, not body's death, but body's banishment. So you don't have to die, you just have to leave my town. All right, so here's a poll. We're going to look at the word doom. In this section, what does Shakespeare mean by the word doom? I bring thee tidings of the prince's doom. Consequence, punishment, or sadness? Sadness doesn't seem right. Let me go with punishment? And very frankly, and this is a poll, so it's not going to give us an answer. Very frankly, I think consequence or punishment would have worked. All right, Romeo, banishment, be merciful and say death, for exile hath more terror in his look. Much more than death, do not say banishment. Friar Lawrence, hence from Verona art thou banished. So you have to leave Verona. Be patient, for the world is broad and wide. But there's a big world out there. Then Romeo replies, there is no world without Verona walls, but purgatory, torture, and hell itself. Hence banished is banished from the world, and world's exile is death. Then banished is death mid-termed, calling death banishment. Thou cuttest my head off with a golden axe, and smilest upon the stroke that murders me. Dudes, he's so dramatic. All right, so my question is, based on Romeo's reaction to the prince's sentence, how can we characterize Romeo? And then we're supposed to provide evidence. Okay, so I'm going to steal something from Friar Lawrence. Romeo is ungrateful. When the prince provides him sweet mercy, the sweet mercy of banishment, not death, Romeo merely whines that he can't be with Juliet anymore. So his reaction is not gratefulness. Instead, he's whining that he can't be with Juliet. So he is ungrateful. You might pick up on something else, but that's what I got from that. There are lots of things you could say. Friar Lawrence, oh deadly sin, how rude unthankfulness. Thy fault our law calls death, but the kind prince, taking thy part, hath rushed aside the law, and turned that black word into death, death into banishment. So turn the word death to banishment. This dear mercy, and thou cannot see it. So yet again, the friar's like, dude, you are so ungrateful. He could have killed you. Romeo replies, 'tis torture and not mercy. Heaven is here, where Juliet lives. And every cat and dog and little mouse and unworthy thing live here in heaven, and may look on her, but Romeo may not. More validity, more honorable state, more courtship lives in carrion flies than Romeo. They my seize, and on the white wonder of dear Juliet's hand, and steal immortal blessing from her lips, whoever in pure bestial modesty still blush as thinking of their own kisses sin, but Romeo may not. He is banished. Flies may do this, but I from this must fly. There are free men, but I am banished. And sayest thou that exile is not death? Hast not poison mixed, no sharp ground knife, no sudden mean of death, though ne'er be so mean. But banished to kill me? Banished. O friar, the damned use of that word in hell, howling attended. How hast thou heart, being divine, a ghostly confessor, a sin absolver, and my friend professed to mangle me with that word banished? What is Romeo's problem? He is a drama queen. Okay, that was the joke answer. But seriously, Romeo wants to stay in Verona. I always do that with Juliet. He's sad that he has to leave and she has to stay. Thou fond madman, hear me speak but a word. Oh, thou wilt speak again of banishment? I'll give thee armor to get thy word. Adversary, sweet milk, philosophy to comfort thee, though thou art banished. Yet banished, hang up the philosophy, unless philosophy can make a Juliet distant a town, or reverse the prince's doom. It helps not, prevails not, talk no more. So Friar says, listen. Romeo says, not if you're going to talk about banishment. Friar says, I'm going to talk about something else. And he's like, no, unless you can fix the problem. And Friar's going to get really irritated here because Romeo's being annoying. Friar says, oh, then I see madmen have no ears. How should they? Then wise men have no eyes. Let me dispute thee of thy estate. Thou canst not speak of what thou dost not feel. Wert thou as young as I, Juliet, thy love, an hour married, but Tybalt murdered, dotting me, like me banished. Then mightest thou speak, then mightest thou hear thy hair and fall upon the ground as I do now, taking the measure of an unmade grave. What does the friar mean when he says, I see that madmen have no ears? So you have three choices. Angry people don't have ears. Maybe that's why they're angry. No, I was joking. No, we can throw A away. It doesn't seem right. Now, I think B and C are very similar. A is very literal, right? Angry people, madmen, have no ears, don't have C ears. Very literal. That's not going to be right. Throwing it away. Excellent. Clicked on it. There we go. But then we can think about mad as not anger, but actually craziness. So crazy people can't hear. They have no ears. Or crazy people don't listen. And we can think about what's going on in the text. Apparently, pretty much Friar Lawrence is talking to Romeo. He's encouraging Romeo to listen, and Romeo's just not. So crazy people don't listen is going to be our answer. Arise, one knocks. Good Romeo, hide thyself. Not I, unless the breath of heart-sick groans, mist-like, enfold me from the search of eyes. Hark, they knock. Who's there? Romeo, arise. That will be taken. Stay a while. Stand up. Run to my study by and by. God's will, the simpleness is this. I come, I come. Who knocks so hard? Whence I come you? What's your will? So someone's there. We don't know who it is. Let me come in, and you shall know my errand. I come from Lady Juliet. Welcome then. O holy friar, tell me, where's my lady's lord? Where's Romeo? And then I asked the question, if you were the friar, would you tell the nurse where Romeo is? And this is, it's just a personal opinion question. I would. I trust the nurse. All right. There on the ground, with his own tears made drunk, he sort of points. Oh, he is even in my mistress's case, just in her case, a woeful sympathy, piteous predicament. Even so she lies, blubbering and weeping, weeping and blubbering. Stand up, stand, and you be a man. For Juliet's sake, for her sake, rise and stand. Why would you so fall a deep in O? Nurse, ah, sir, well, death's the end of it all. So nurse is like, you need to be a man. Get up off the floor, stop crying. Romeo says, speakest thou of Juliet? How is it with her? Doth she think me a murderer? Now I stain the childhood of her joy with blood removed and little from her own. Where is she? And how doth she? And what says my concealed lady in our concealed love? Oh, she says nothing, sir, but weeps, and now falls on her bed, and then she starts up, and Romeo, and Tybalt calls, and then again Romeo she cries, and then down falls again. So there's this conflicted nature in Juliet, which makes sense. All right, so open-ended question, and this is another, if you were Juliet, how would you feel? And so I'm just going to sort of jot something down here, and it's not really going to be a very long thing, but what I'm writing is very much in line with what's going on in the play, because I'm a novel writer person. I'm right. No, I'm not right. I meant I'm right. Like I write. I'm tired. Okay. Romeo, as if that name shot from my deadly of a gun did murder her, and as that cursed name hand murdered her kinsman. O meets friar, tell me what vile part of this anatomy doth my name lodge? So which part of my body is my name entwined with? Like, and he says, tell me that, and I may sack the hateful mansion. And he draws his sword. So he's essentially going to cut off whatever part of body his name is housed. Very weird. Friar says, hold thy desperate hand. Art thou a man? Thy form cries out. Thy tears are womanish. The wild acts denote the unreasonable fury of a beast. Unseemingly woman in the seeming man, or ill-beseeching breast of something in both. Doth hath amazed me, and by my holy order I thought thy disposition better tempered. Hast thou slain Tybalt? Will thou slay thyself, and stay thy lady to their lives upon thee by doing damned hate upon thyself? So he's like, dude, you're acting like a, which this is misogynistic and I don't appreciate, you're acting like a woman. Stop. Well, thou railest on thy birth, the heaven and the earth, since birth and heaven and earth are all three do meet in three at once, which thou once would lose. Fie, thou shamest thy shape, and thy love, thy wit, which thy unuser, upon boundedness and all, the usest none in the true use indeed, which should beneck thy shape, thy love, thy wit. Thy noble shape is but a form of wax, digressing from the valor of a man. Thy dear love, sworn but hollow perjury, taking that love which thou hast now vowed to cherish. Thy wit, that ornament to shape the love misshapen in the conduct of them both, like powder in a skilletless soldier's flask, is set afire by thine own ignorance, and thou with thine own defense. And what roused thee, man, that Juliet is alive, and whose dear sake wast thou lately dead? There art thou happy. Tybalt would kill thee, and thou slewest Tybalt, and thou happy too. The law that has threatened death becomes thy friend and turns to exile. Thou art happy. A pack of blessings lights upon thy back. Happiness counts thee in her best array, but like misbehaved and sullen wretch, thou pourest upon the fortune of thy love. Take heed, for such die miserable, and get thee to love. As was decreed, ascend her chamber, hence and comfort her. But thou look not until the watch be set, for thou now go to Mantua, where thou shalt live till thou can find a time to blaze the marriage, reconcile your friends, beg the pardon of the prince, and call thee back with 20,000 times more joy than wentest forth in lamentation. Go before, nurse, commend me to my lady, and bid her hasten the house to bed, which heaven with heavy sorrow makes them act unto. Romeo is coming. So the plan is, y'all, Romeo will go to Juliet, will comfort her, will tell her that it's all going to be all right, and then he will leave. He has to leave before daybreak. He will go to Mantua. He will make a home. The friar will send news via messenger, and he will work to solidify and fix the problems that they're having. And then he'll call him home. So that's the plan. My question, though, y'all. I lied. Summarize Friar Lawrence's speech. All right, so essentially, Friar Lawrence, how do you spell his name? Friar Lawrence says Romeo is acting childish and that he needs to get over himself. Then he says that Romeo is to go to, I'm running out of room, so I'm going to say make a life, and the friar will send to him when all is well. So that's essentially the plan. O Lord, I could have stayed here all night and hear this good counsel. Oh, what learning is! Oh, my Lord, tell me, my lady, I will come. Do so, and bid me sweet prepare to chide. Here, sir, a ring she bid me give you. Hie you, make haste, for it grows very late. How well my comfort is revived by this. Go hence, good night. And here stands all you state, either be gone before the watch be set, or by the break of day, disguised from hence. Sojourn to Mantra. I'll find out your man, and he shall signify from time to time. Every good hap the chances here. Give me thy hand, 'tis late. Farewell, good night. But that a joy past calls out on me. It were grief, so brief a part of the farewell. And then they leave. So I'm actually going to leave you on this question. Because of the foreshadowing sprinkled throughout the text, we know this plan won't end well. If you were making the plan, what plan would you make? Think strategically. How could the plan have been foolproof? We don't yet know what's going to go wrong with the plan, but we know something's going to go wrong. So I want y'all to think about how the plan could have gone. What are some other ways? Yeah, I'm just going to write that in. What are some other ways the plan could have gone? Have a great day. Bye, y'all.